Hey YouTube, and thanks for watching Junkworks Garage. Well, the first part of this video is going to be about 2 years ago I filmed it. So that gives you a little context on not only some of the equipment I'm using at the time, but also things have changed a little bit, I guess. So I don't know how much of that I'm going to keep in there, but I welded like the whole top part together. I will say I also welded the bottom part together, but I lost some of that footage. I don't know what happened. It's been so long ago, and I rewatched the video that I kind of started of this welding cart, and even in there it says I lost the video. I have no idea where it went or why. So back then I actually lost all the welding footage of that. But all these are basically the same. So in part of this, I cut some of these at the 45. I believe the whole bottom one, I cut these at a 45 and welded them together. The top one, I had to do it a little bit different because of the way the door opens on the welding machine. And the one I'm doing right now with the bottle and the way I'm going to do the rest of them, I'm just kind of notching the corners. You'll see that as I go through it. But I just thought I needed to kind of explain that it has been a couple years since I started this project, and I am just now finishing it, or at least getting back to it. I hope I finish it. And in that time, some ideas have come through. I've seen other ideas. So, and I'm going to have probably a two-part of this. The first part is just going to be putting together, it's a bunch of bed frames. You could use bed frames, you can use any kind of angle iron, and you can make exactly the same thing wherever you get it from. Now, that's where the caveat on this is. You are responsible for your own safety and for your own machine. If you weld it out of bed frames and the whole thing comes crashing down and destroys your machine, that is not my fault. You are responsible for yourself. This is how I'm doing it. I am no professional. I'm not an engineer. I'm just doing what I know will work for me. So, therefore, not only safety of yourself, but the safety of your equipment, you are responsible for yourself. If you don't like the way I'm doing something, definitely don't do it. And one of the biggest things I needed to do, and I realized this after the thought, because my original plan, that was my original plan right here, to have these all sticking up so that this was on the bottom and it came up with corners that were mitered like that. Couple things. Now I'm using bed frame here. You can choose to use whatever kind of angle iron you want, but I got this free at garage sales. I got quite a bit of it, and this stuff is stupid strong. Anyway, my original plan was to miter all the corners. Well, you'll notice this piece here is actually a little bit shorter piece of angle iron, a little bit different than these, and I have them cut like this. Well, I actually have to turn this around like that, and I'm just gonna miter those in, or what, not miter, but weld those in like that, so this piece is sticking down. Because when I was here and I had this sitting all the way up against here, I went to open this, and wouldn't you know it, it doesn't open when there's something in the way. Because this goes, the one thing, another poor design, I would say, feature of this, or something that I don't like on this one personally, is that this goes all the way down to the bottom, so anything that's in its way is gonna keep it from opening. So I made it so I can open this up and close it by flipping that the other way. Table and stuck it all together here where I'm going to kind of want everything, and then I'm measuring crisscross here, and I'm at a little bit over 20 1/4 there, and the same over there, so I'm good and square right here. So I'm going to hold these here and tack them up. Well, I got her all tacked up, looking okay, pretty happy with it for now. Something else I forgot to mention was the reason why this is shorter here, why I used a shorter piece up front here, and I'll show you that. And the reason for that is because with the bigger stuff, it came up and was just right, kind of resting underneath this and pushing up on it, and I didn't like that. So I used the shorter stuff right there, and that goes down underneath in this area here. I just have it sitting on top of here, which is where I had my welder sitting. I got, you know, it's good and tight here, right up against the back here. This goes down. I can lift this, close it, maybe. Well, I got a fan going because it's like 100 degrees out, so I got that going, so hopefully it doesn't affect the audio too much. But otherwise, I have a pretty good plan. I'm going to stick that on the bottom shelf, which I've already got built. I'm going to modify it some, but right now I'm going to stick with that, and it's going to go on the bottom shelf. This machine will do aluminum, and at some point I am going to have some projects I want to do, maybe with aluminum, so I am actually going to modify the back part of this to hold 2 tanks. Originally I had it so there still would be enough room to where I could put that welder or something in here, and there's still enough room for the tank. So I think I'm gonna try not to go any longer than this, but I am gonna have to go wider somehow. So that is my next part that I'm gonna be doing. I started messing with things and I realized this right here is pretty much what I want. Something similar to this, only it's only going to be about 8 inches from front to back. So in theory this is actually going to be longer than this one here, so it would have to be almost 4.5 inches out from the side here. So this plus 9 inches. This is getting a lot wider than I was hoping. I'm going to say 8 inches from there to there. So this is kind of the basic idea. The bottles will go here. The wheels will go right in this area right here. So I got this kind of set up the way it's gonna be here. Now I know I've 45'd some of these things, and I've actually done it this way on some of it, but I decided on this one I'm just gonna cut them out. I think this worked better than the 45s in all actuality to do that, and then cut this off right in here, and then we'll bring that in. I'm gonna do the same thing with this right here, just kind of butt this up to here. I'm gonna cut that and right along there. I've been kind of thinking about how I'm going to mount these on to this whole setup, and actually last night in bed I came up with this. I'm one of those people that never fall asleep or thinking about weird things in the middle of the night, but regardless, I got to thinking, I wonder, these little brackets on the bed frame came with this. I got 2 of them. I wonder, and I looked, and those holes match up perfectly. So I don't need to drill holes, they're already there for me. I'm gonna have to drill a couple other holes, but I will say drilling holes through this bed frame has been very difficult. This is pretty strong stuff regardless of what people think, although yet again I am no engineer. So I kind of got this laid up on here. I've got preliminary measurements where I'm Measuring corner to corner, and I'm right about 21 inches. I think that's where I want to be, so I'm gonna, and I've cleaned this, ground all these down. Helps to turn your gas on, but it also helps to turn the regulator on so it flows gas. Dang it. Oh. Okay, well, I messed up. Yes, I did. I put this on upside down. These are supposed to be facing up so that the bottle doesn't kick over here. Darn it, darn it, darn it. Well, hopefully this is a happy accident, we'll say, and this turns out better than I hoped. But right now, I've tried cutting as many of the welds as I can cut. Now I'm going to have to re-weld some of them. And to boot, I cannot get, like, there's welds right in here, and there's no way I'm cutting those out. And there's some in here I'm having trouble getting to. Mainly it's these ones right here in this corner. There's just no way, and it's not coming loose. And so it is what it is. What I'm seeing though is that if I bring this all the way over, and I'm going to bring it probably to about right there, this will go fine and not hit here. So I'm going to have to cut something out right in this area right here. So we got the bottom of the welding cart here where I screwed up and turned this upside down. This was all supposed to be facing the other direction. But we're going to make do with what we got now because I don't want to tear it up all apart and I don't want to redo it. And I think it's going to work out all right. And then we got this here, which I want to put in this area. I'm just kind of putting the magnet there to kind of hold it right. And then I want to check and make sure that we are still going to work all right. Once again, definitely wear a mask. I forgot to throw my mask on this time, and that stuff stinks. And I went ahead and took the last of the bed frame there I had, cut it down to size to fit across here. I'm going to go ahead and notch these out, kind of similar to what I did when I put the corners together. Only make it so it is flat across here basically. And put this in the middle. That way, if I decide to put like some screening or something in here, that'll give it a little bit of extra structure. For those of you out there who want to complain about my welding, those are some perfect welds. Perfect for grinding. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since I did a project like this, and I'm kind of dipping back in. That's kind of why I'm doing the welding cart. So I got this sitting basically where it's going to be. I mean, it can move a little bit, but I can move it all the way this way and make my mark here. And I can turn it this way and move it all the way that way and make my mark here. That didn't go as well or as evenly as I hoped, so I'm going to take this, and now I have it somewhat cleaned up here. I'm going to trace this onto there and hope I can cut this out, put it over here, and kind of figure out the basis of where it needs to go. So I got my pattern cut out here, have this marked. I put the wheel on here and marked it. To be honest, this needs to be right about there, but it's not marking the same in the front, because if I put this on this side, hopefully you can see it, this matches almost identical to there. And I'm going to actually take it right into there. So I'm going to put that there, put that where the mark is there. That hopefully will get me close to where I need to be. I don't know why, but for some reason the edge of this hits on one bolt on both sides. And quite honestly, the tire with weight on it, I think would hit on all of them. once it's pushed down, especially that one right here. I don't know why yet again, why it's just the kind of one. It hits on this, but definitely got to cut this down. So I'm going to have to take these and take the zip wheel and cut these all down. No big whoop. That'll work for what I need to do next, and that is check the height difference. And that kind of gives you an idea of my plan right there. And honestly, I was thinking this was going to be raised up a whole bunch, but that's actually, I really like that way right there, a little bit back. I'm bringing this back a little ways because I don't want it on this weld right here. I don't want to be drilling into that. So if I bring it back a little bit, not only will this make this not stick out, I've really thought about bringing it back here so that this wouldn't stick out, but I think I am just gonna right now anyways go with 3 bolts and see how things go just to get this on the road. And later on there'll be a second iteration to this. I can already tell there's things I would like to do either a little bit different or that I'm going to add to this, that kind of stuff. But right now this is just going to be a basic bed frame welding cart that hopefully has the ability to hold a welder. That should be pretty close. I just cut these right here to 19 inches. Yet again, I'm going to have my old welder, the flux core welder, underneath here, sitting here. And I've done the measurements, and 19 inches seems to be a good amount where I can get it like in and out. Now, this is the top one here that my main welder is going to be sitting on for now. Since this is the one that the machine's going to go on, I need to make sure that this is on the correct side so that when I put it on here, it's facing forward and the door will open this way. So I'm going to need it at this direction here. The other thing, the bed frames that I found for doing this, the pieces that I had kind of leftover pieces from another project, they have like a short side and a long side. And the last time I used this, I didn't realize that and screwed up and ended up with some pieces that didn't really work right. So you want to make sure if they aren't even, kind of like similar to the rest of this bed frame, that you get the long sides on the same area. So I put X's on those, and so I got to flip that one around so that the short side's toward the back and the long side's towards the front. That's kind of how I'm going, because I figure I want more strength forward rather than across here. I'm not going to have to worry about it too much. And then these are going to go on here somehow. And here's the piece we just welded on here, and that is going to sit on there like that. So there's the bottom there. There's where the actual welder is going to sit. So I measured from here to here all the way around. and it's slightly higher here. I knocked that down, and we're down a quarter from where we were, so I'm happy. We're within a quarter, and we're exactly the same on, yep, we're exactly the same from here to here, here to here, and we're about a quarter inch lower here. So at the very least it's going to be tipped back even a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and weld this thing up the way it is and start burning in some welds.
Test of the Emergency Alert System, issued by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, covering the United States from 2:20 to 2:40 p.m. Eastern Time.
Alright, and there's those tacked in. Now I'm going to weld them in. They turned out alright. They're not perfectly even. I definitely didn't get my holes perfect, but so I have welded this up as much as I'm going to do in this run. It is time to put the wheels on, or the casters on. And I got these from Harbor Freight. They were one of those on sale, super cheap. They hold more than enough weight. See if it says on here, 135 pounds a piece, 4-inch swivel casters. This whole machine doesn't weigh 135 pounds, so times it times 4. Plus I'm going to have a few other things, and the weight of this isn't that bad. I'm well within weight, I'm pretty sure. Regardless, I'm going to put that on there. Yet again, I'm going to make sure things are good. I'm hoping when I do put weight on it, we don't have problems with it hitting on that. Because these are definitely somewhat wobbly, I would say. And we'll go from there. Side. And remembering back now, I need to actually cut all these down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. For now, I think I'm going to call that a welding cart. Now, I probably should put something in here to triangulate it, but the back here is welded on in both spots here, so I figure that's keeping this from pulling forward as well. Any welders out there can tell me if you ever remember to turn the gas on every time. Yet again, then you got this kind of awkward sticking out a ways, but with that awkward sticking out a ways, that would definitely give me a place to wrap these things, which was kind of my idea as well, because these are already sticking up. This was for an old piece of body equipment. I actually helped design it. It was off of one of those dent pullers where you kind of weld a stud to something and actually use the machine and pry out. One of these days, I have one. One of these days I need to use it on my Mustang, and I'll show it to you. I actually am proud that I had a bit of a design idea into that when they first came out. But regardless, I need to make sure this is there in the right area, and then bend this in some. There we go, like that. I'll make sure that this is level with this, and I think I am going to tack this on right here. And if I hate it later on down the road, I will change it, but I do think that gives me a good place to kind of hook stuff without adding more to this right now. you'll notice that I don't have the welder on here right now, because when I went to roll it around, it started kind of rubbing on this frame piece on one side actually. So to counteract that, I went ahead and grabbed some actual lock washers and put them between the frame and the top of the caster here and bolted that down. And although that solved my problem so that it's not hitting even with the weight of the welder on it, what it ended up doing is bringing this right here up enough, the frame of this, to where it was hitting on some bolts. So I had to cut some more bolts down. So if you're going to use this the same way where I have the bolts going down instead of facing up, you're definitely going to need to cut those right at the top of the nut so that you have room for this to maneuver all the way around. Because I definitely had to go back and fix some of that. So if you're using these same Harbor Freight casters, kind of be aware of that right there. Alright, I'm going to put the welder back on and we need to do the bottle. Well, I'm going to be honest here, it's a bit of a lackluster ending for this one. I kind of got a stuck point as far as the bottle is concerned. So a couple things. The way I built it is going to have to be somewhat modified for the bottle part. I have now realized that this right here is too narrow if I just put like a plate there and try and use this as the base. Because it is hitting up here, I had to kind of go in between this and the plug-in just to get the one bottle where it is right now. And I feel comfortable with it. I just have a couple of old Harbor Freight straps that have broke, so I made them fairly short and can use them for stuff like this, and I just have it hooked on here. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm comfortable with it. But yet again, you need to decide for yourself what you're comfortable with. And as far as the casters, I'll be honest, they're not as great as I was hoping. Definitely got to kind of kick it to get it going a little bit here, but my thing is I can actually kind of bring it around wherever I want for the most part, no matter where I'm going. They just don't go over little rocks and things like that very well, and they definitely have to kind of go for a little bit until you get it to go, and then once you're going straight, it does all right. That is the one thing about having casters that spin all the way around, is it doesn't follow you near as well. But between holding on to the bottle, which I probably want to do anyway, and the handle, I can kind of move this around wherever I need it, and I'll be able to use either one of these welders. If for some reason I want to use flux core outside or something like that, it's there now. And I have this one for everything else. This is working real well here, the way this handle is. Yet again, you can make this just a round bar, a couple flat pieces, and I just happen to have this here, so I thought I might as well use it, but that works good. Those sticking up, they're not pointy or anything like that where I feel like I'm going to hurt myself. And unreel that, go to each side. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the gas cylinders, because I do want to have two. Quite honestly, I don't know if these casters will take another bottle and still move around as well as I hoped. It definitely isn't moving quite like I like. I like the design of the actual welder, to be honest. I think with a few more improvements, obviously, and some design stuff, and a good paint job, it'll be kind of an alright looking welder. I actually do like the handle up here, because once I do get it going, I can bring it pretty good. I can control it fairly well just with the handle up here, and I don't have to bend over a bunch to use it. Well, I know that wasn't exactly the most amazing welding cart in the world, so I'm not going to title this the most amazing welding cart in the world, but it'll get the job done. I used a bunch of scrap metal, that's the main thing, bed rail stuff and old scrap metal pieces and things that I had, and some cheap Harbor Freight casters that admittedly I'm not real happy with the casters, and unfortunately I bought some of those for my welding table as well, and I don't know if they're going to work. But regardless, there you go, now you know. Now get out there and get your junk working. Thanks for watching Junk Works Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm Jack of all and Master of none. You all have a good one.